Good afternoon, boys and girls. Mrs. Disidores here to read the next chapter in Superfudge. We are up to chapter 11, and chapter 11 is called Catastrophes. If you don't know, a catastrophe means a disaster. So let's see what happens here. I think Fudgy is going to have something to do with this catastrophe. This again is a long chapter, so I'll read a few pages and then we'll pick up tomorrow with the rest. Dad stopped talking about his book. I had the feeling it wasn't going very well. Instead, he talked about growing vegetables and how to cook them Chinese style, or about the Princeton University hockey team. He took me to all their home games. When Jimmy Fargo came to visit, he joined us. I'm really into violence, Jimmy said. I think hockey's a great game. It's a lot bloodier than football. And there are more team fights. That's not what hockey is all about, Dad argued. It's a game of skill, of timing, of precision. Yeah, sure, Jimmy said. I know all that, but it's still great to see the blood bounce on the ice. Blood bounces on ice, I asked. Yeah, Jimmy said. And so does vomit. See, it has to do with the temperature and the ice versus the temperature of the body. And Jimmy, please, Dad said, turning green. It's true, Mr. Hatcher. They both bounce on ice. Maybe so, Dad said, but that's not the reason we go to the games. I know, Jimmy said, but it's a nice side event. Dad shook his head and began to check off players' names on the list inside his program. Jimmy leaned across me and tapped Dad's arm. I'm not a violent person, Mr. Hatcher. Don't get the wrong idea. It's just that it's a healthy way to use up some of my aggressive energy. Hey, Jimmy, I said. Yeah? Shut up! Okay, sure, Jimmy said. And he was quiet until nearly the end of the third period, when 4 of the players got into a fight. Then he stood up and yelled, Kill! Kill! I tugged at his sweater until he sat down again. Later, when I was in bed, and Jimmy was in his sleeping bag, he said, I've been seeing the school psychologist twice a week. He says I have a lot of anger because my parents split up. Take my word for it, Peter. Divorce is a catastrophe. You should watch your parents all the time and listen to every word they say, so they can't ever take you by surprise. For the next couple of weeks, I paid close attention to my parents, looking for any possible signs of divorce. But I didn't see or hear anything unusual. And soon, I got tired of watching and listening. Besides, whenever my parents fight, they wind up laughing. In February, we celebrated Tootsie's first birthday. She carried on a family tradition of smashing her fist into a birthday cake. Grandma, who believes in handing out gifts for everyone, not just the birthday person, brought me a 4-color ballpoint pen and Fudge a new Brian Pumpkin book. Read, Fudge told Grandma. She took him on her lap and read him the latest story about Uriah, one of Brian Pumpkin's characters. I used to really like his books when I was a little kid, I said. I'm not a little kid, Fudge reminded me. Next year I'll be in the first grade. You want to see a little kid? Look at the birthday girl. The birthday girl was sitting in her high chair making a mess. Grandma had brought her a new baby-proof cup, one that refused to turn over no matter how hard Tootsie tried. Finally, Tootsie screeched, picked up the cup, and dumped her milk over her head. Tootsie's first birthday party could go down as a real catastrophe, I said. What catastrophe? Fudge asked. It's when something goes wrong, I said. Or when everything goes wrong, Mom added. Talk about catastrophes. 6 weeks later, Tootsie learned to walk. At first, it was just a few feet at a time, from Mom to Dad, or from me to Fudge. But pretty soon, she was toddling all over the place. Sometimes she'd crash land, and if no one was watching, she'd laugh and start all over again. But if she caught one of us looking at her, she'd start bawling and crying and wouldn't stop until she got a cookie. And Tootsie wasn't the only one crash landing. Fudge was learning to ride his bicycle. One of his major problems was stopping. Instead of using his brakes, he kept trying to jump off while his bike was still going. I was wrong when I told him he might get a couple of straight knees. Elbows, knees, and head were more like it, constantly. but he refused to give up. He was really determined to get to ride to school. All right, so we're going to stop there. Tomorrow I will finish the rest of this chapter called Catastrophes. We've learned of a couple. Tootsie's first birthday, she was making quite a mess with her birthday cake. Budgie learning how to ride a bike. What a catastrophe. Kind of a disaster because he didn't know how to use the brakes. And also Tootsie learning how to walk. Getting all over the place now. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.